Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you a game played between Frese and Schroeder, which was played in the year 1951. This is one of my favorite mating combinations which I have seen on the board, so let's get started. The game started with the move d4, d5, c4 and d cross c4. So we have Queen's Gambit accepted on the board. As we can see, Black's last move weakened this e4 square, and if White wants, then he can play this move e4, gaining a lot of space in the center and also opening this bishop I to attack this weak c4 pawn. Now, if White wants, then he can regain his pawn immediately with this move queen a4, which not only hits this black king but also hits this weak c4 pawn. But in the game, after the move d cross c4, we have this move knight c3, which is also a very good move, developing a piece, controlling some central square, and delaying the recapturing of this pawn. Here, Black responded very energetically with the move e5, so hitting back at the white center. And the idea behind this move is, if White ever captures this pawn, that is d cross e5, then Black can play this move queen cross d1, king cross d1, bishop e6, supporting this loose pawn, e4, not only gaining some space in the center, but also opening this bishop I to attack this e4 pawn, knight c6, attacking this e5 pawn, f4, not only supporting this pawn, but also threatening to play the move f5, which will force this bishop to move to a passive square. Black can certainly play this move, queenside castle. Now, as you can see, this move not only puts this king to a very safe square, but also opens this rook side against the white king. Now, as you can see, it is highlighted by the squares. White king cannot come to any of these two squares because this will allow this knight to come in with a check. And if this king ever moves to this even square, then again this knight can come to b4 or d4, threatening to play the move knight c2, which will fork this king as well as this rook. So White will be pretty much forced to play the move bishop d2, coming into a very awkward pin, and also the threat of playing the move f5 can be easily met with this move g6. So all in all, if White ever captured that pawn, then Black would gain a very good position. So considering all this, White played this move d5, refuting this pawn. But again, this is a bit loose move because you are moving your pawn way too ahead in the Black's camp, and this can become a potential target in the further positions. A better move was to play the move e3. So keeping your pawn structure compact and also threatening to recapture this pawn. And if Black captures, then White can again recapture. Although White has this isolated pawn, but this is a pretty equal position with both the sides having equal opportunities to attack. But in the game, we have the move d5, and here Black continued with the move bishop d6, and here White played the move e4, so not only supporting this pawn, but also threatening to recapture back this pawn. And again, here Black responded very aggressively with the move f5. And this move aims to remove the defender of this d5 square. And the idea behind this is, if White captures this pawn, then Black can certainly recapture back with this bishop, simultaneously developing a piece, and this pawn would become weak and can be easily ganged up afterwards. And also one thing to be noted over here is, by giving up this f pawn, Black has certainly managed to open up this semi-open f file. And if Black ever castles on this king side, then this rook can actually eye on this f2 square. So this would be a very good position for the Black. So seeing all this, White just ignored this threat because this knight is already supporting this e4 square. He just continued with the move bishop cross c4. Here Black played the move knight c6, so intensifying the pressure on this e4 square. Now capturing this is certainly a threat, and here White played the move bishop d3, which is again a bit inaccurate move because you are moving the same piece twice in your opening. A better move was to play the move, after the move knight f6, a better move was to play the move knight f3. And the idea behind this move is, if black ever captures this e4 pawn, then white can certainly play the move knight g6, not only threatening to recapture back this pawn, but also looking at this juicy e6 square. And this is a quite vulnerable square in the black's camp, because this square is not only supported by this pawn, but is also indirectly supported by this bishop. And if the game ever continued from here, so we'll have this move kingside castle, knight a6, as this square is already guarded by this pawn. And if this knight ever develops from this d7 square, then this will mask this bishop's eye on this e6 square, and then white will just come in with an fork on the queen as well as the rook. So black was pretty much forced to develop his knight on the a6 square. Here white can continue with the move knight a6, so forking the queen as well as the rook, pretty much forcing the black to give up its bishop pair. And after the takes, as you can see, white is already threatening to play the move e7, not only giving check to the black king but also forking the queen as well as the rook. Black is forced to play the move bishop e7, and all in all, white has gained a very good position. So he must have certainly considered to play the move knight f3. But in the game, we have the move bishop d3. So reinforcing this pawn once again. Here we have the move f cross e4 and knight cross e4, kingside castle, and bishop g5. So intensifying the pressure on this f6 knight. So I would like you guys to pause here for a moment and guess the move which was played by the black in this position. Now, if you are a Mikhail Tal fan, then this move is not too hard for you to find out. And for the guys who were not able to find out this move, then don't worry, you will certainly learn to play such type of moves by looking at the games which I analyze. Here, black played the move knight cross e4. And at first sight, this looks like a very big blunder, because isn't this move hanging this queen on the d8 square? Well, this is the black's idea. And if you look at this position carefully after the move bishop cross d8, you can see that this rook and this knight are converging on this weak f2 square. And one thing to be noted over here is, if you move just two move backwards, in this position, and if you have a look at this position, if black ever inserted this check by this move bishop b4, then white has these two pieces who can actually come in between and guard this check. But after these two moves, that is the move knight cross e4 and bishop cross d8, we can see that if black ever comes in with a check, there is no piece who can actually block this check. So, and this was the move which was played in the game. Here black continued with the move bishop b4 check, and if white thinks that he can give up his queen and gain an equal position, then he's certainly wrong, because if he played this move, which is the move queen d2, then black can certainly capture this with a check, bishop cross d2, and after king cross d1, this knight can play this move knight cross f2, which will fork this king as well as this rook. And if the move king f1, then this would be certainly a mate after the move rook cross f2. And if the king moves to e2 square, then again knight can capture on this f2 square, because this is already supported by this rook. And if this white king ever captures this bishop, then black rook can certainly capture this bishop first, because this rook is not going anywhere, as it is blocked behind its own pieces. So here, blocking with a queen is certainly not an option over here. So after the move bishop b4 check, white is pretty much forced to move his king. And as we have seen, if king moves to this f1 square, then again this rook takes f2 would be a checkmate. So white played this move queen e2, And we have this move rook cross f2, and again only one move for the white king, king e3. And in this position, this is somewhat a critical moment of the game, because as you can see at this moment, this black's knight is hanging, and if this knight ever moves to any square, then this will hang this rook. And one thing over to be noted over here is black has invested his whole queen in the attack, and if he doesn't play this game actively, then he's certainly going to lose this game. Here, black continued with the move bishop c5. So, sacrificing this knight, white accepted this sacrifice, and we have this move bishop f5 check. Again, sacrificing this pawn, we have king cross e5, and can you spot it? Yes, it's a move knight d7, checkmate on the board. So, what a game! I mean, the king march started from the move e1 to e2 to e3 to e4 to e5, and finally got checkmated on this e5 square. And this move actually illustrates how active piece play can even, just outright the and then just outplay the queen. And if you do like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, and any suggestion will be highly be appreciated in the comment section below. Also, do subscribe to my channel because more videos are coming. Thank you.